Good afternoon, leaders. How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. And if you are not so far, you still have time to turn that around. Good afternoon. Welcome to Leadership Talks with L. Wayne Smalls. I, of course, am Wayne Smalls. I am so happy to be here with you today sharing. And just to give you a brief background about myself, I am a 20-plus year Army veteran. I retired as an Army officer. So I decided to take that career of mine and use all of that leadership experience and training and put it to good use. I am passionate about sharing leadership principles that will help people to grow, learn, become better leaders, become better people, and become better contributors to society, because we do want to help our communities to grow and become better. We want to train our young people to grow and to become better. And in order for us to do that, we ourselves have to continue to grow, learn, and become better leaders, people, and people that would like to create legacies for those that are following us. And we're going to do that right now. And so what I would like to do is share with you today just a brief lesson on leadership, dealing with influence, because as we know, leadership is all about influence. The more influence you have, the more ability you have to lead. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to prove it to you. But listen to this. The true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. When a real leader speaks, people listen. Think about that for just one moment. Think about someone who has been very influential in your life. Think about, over the course of time, people that you have taken advice from, people that you have listened to, people that you have followed. Why did you follow them? What did they say to you that made you want to follow them? What did they make you feel that made you feel comfortable enough to follow their lead? Did you like them? Did you get to know them? Did you trust them? Because those are the qualities needed and necessary in order for there to be a leadership relationship. Now, I want to go a little bit into my military background again and just talk about some of the things that I learned over time. Being exposed to leadership training, the formal training, being exposed to combat, actually having the opportunity to apply the things that I learned in training in a real world situation and being able to get people to follow me when it was a life or death situation. And so having that experience, having that opportunity to go through some really traumatic experiences, some really exhilarating experiences, and having people follow me and leaning on my every word. How did I get to that point? I was able to build a level of influence that allowed that leadership relationship to take place. And there are several things that you have to do before you even get to that point. You have to build relationships. You have to get to know people. You have to connect with them, bond with them, understand what makes them tick, understand what motivates them, what their ambitions are. The only way you can learn those things is if, as a leader, you take time to build those relationships. You have to connect. And the connection is just as important, if not more important, than building that line of communication. Why is that? Because if I cannot connect to you, I won't understand you. I will not figure out how to get to you to be motivated about anything if I haven't connected with you first. So building those relationships is based on a foundation of having a solid connection. That's one thing. In otherwise simpler environment than combat, if you're dealing with your church, if you're in the workplace, wherever that may be, if you're part of a nonprofit organization, you still have to find ways to connect with people. Just because you're not being fired upon, nobody's shooting at you, nobody's throwing bombs at you, just because you're not in a life-threatening situation does not mean you don't have to take the same amount of time to connect with people and build those relationships. So again, it takes time, but it's a process, and you have to care. A leader that does not care is a leader that is not going to be successful. 9 times out of 10, there are some exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, when a leader doesn't care about his or her people, then that leader in the long run is not going to be totally successful. That has been proven time and time again. And there are some myths to leadership that we need to make sure we're clear about. Are you a leader or are you a manager? Managers, they oversee processes. They make sure things work right. They make sure the personnel matches the numbers, matches the statistics. It's a process. Leadership is about developing people, making the people around you better. Everyone in your sphere of influence, everyone that you can reach out and touch, everyone that you can touch indirectly, those people are in your sphere of influence, and the amount of influence that you have is vitally important when you are trying to achieve a mission, when you're trying to achieve a goal, when you're trying to achieve an objective. You have to make sure everybody's on board. So again, we go back to the connections that are very important, clear communication, which is very important, and then making sure that everyone is on the same sheet of music, working towards the same goal. And it all starts with the leader. So when those things are not happening, it is not the fault of the people of the organization. It is the fault of the leader. Everything starts with the leader. Everything rises and falls with the leader. So when an organization is successful, it started with the leader. And when everything fell apart, it also started with the leader. So if you are a manager, you have to make sure that you're managing. If you're a leader, you have to make sure that you're developing people and you're managing the process. You have to make sure the process is working and make sure that the people that are working the process, they're growing and they're developing. And let me throw this in as a side bonus. When you are a leader that is focused on developing people to become better leaders, your amount of influence is going to multiply. It's not just going to add. When you add value to people, they're going to become better, but their reach is going to go far beyond yours. You can send them out and they'll be able to touch far more people than you will be able to touch yourself personally. So making sure that you add value to people so that when they go out, your influence is still impacting other people. Your influence is still growing. So are you a leader or are you a manager only? Think about that. Think about the times that you may have had a leader in your life, whether it was in the workplace or wherever, church, nonprofit organization, whatever you were doing. Think about that leader that inspired you. Think about the leader that made you want to be better. Or think about that leader that really didn't do anything for you. They really didn't take the time to get to know you. They really didn't have your best interests at heart. How did you feel about that? How did you feel? I can pinpoint the most impactful people in my life from childhood to now. And then I can also go back and pinpoint those who really didn't have a positive impact, but they still impacted me, and it made me into the person that I am now. And I'm sure if you do the same thing, if you go through that thought process, you'll be able to do the same thing. We like to keep it positive. We like to think about all of the good things that have happened in our lives. That's natural. But it's also good to go back and look at some of those negative experiences, those negative impacting leaders that touched our lives as well, so that we can learn those lessons and say, okay, I know what not to do. I know how not to treat people. I know that when I have the opportunity to help someone, I'll take advantage of that opportunity and help them rather than tear them down. So we get lessons, whether they're negative, from a negative experience or a positive experience. We have to take them all in. They all help to develop us. They all help us to grow. And if we learn the lessons that we need to learn and leave the rest behind, we'll be better for that. So next, let's talk about some of the factors of leadership. Character. Do you believe that your character can impact the amount of influence that you have? I say it does. People can see right through you when you're not real. They can tell when you're genuine. They can tell when you're just pretending. They can tell when you're just trying to use them in most cases. But when you're a person of character and of integrity, people will first of all respect you for that. And they also know that they can trust you. If you lose trust in any relationship, It's so hard to get that back. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. So as a leader, when you lose your credibility, it is hard to come back from that. So it's best that we work hard every day to be people of character, not just leaders of character, but people of character, making sure that what we say is what we mean. Make sure that we do what we say we're going to do. Make sure we do right by people, respecting them and treating them like they deserve to be treated. Just because you're in a leadership position does not mean you get to treat people however you want to. It does not work that way. At least it's not supposed to. And if you're a leader that does that, you will find that people are not giving you their best. They're going to give you the bare minimum, just enough to get by, not to get fired, not lose their job, not to get in any trouble, to stay off the radar, but they're not going to give you their best. Remember that. We talked about relationships. Relationships are so important that when we neglect them, we often shortchange ourselves of the successes that we could have when, if we had decided to build those relationships, we could be so much more successful. Having a relationship with people does not mean that you necessarily have to be friends, but you're building a relationship. You're building bonds with people that they want to help you. They want to make you be successful as the leader. They want to see you succeed because they know if you succeed, they will succeed also. So they're going to help you win because you're helping them win. It's a give and take situation. It's not work people to death, beat them into the ground, treat them like they're less than what you are. Leadership is actually a servant's mentality, being a servant to the people that follow you. Why is that? Because as the leader, we provide the resources. We provide the training. We provide the mentorship. We provide the leadership. We provide the guidance. That's our responsibility. And when it comes to relationships, it's our responsibility to initiate it. We're not supposed to wait for them to come to us and try to have a bond and try to build a relationship. It's our job to do that. It's the leader's job to do that. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how to be real leaders, how to be better leaders to the people that follow us. Because guess what? At the end of the day, they're looking to us for that guidance. And if we're not giving it to them, we're shortchanging them of their growth. We're shortchanging them from the opportunities that they could have if you do what you're supposed to do as a leader. Another one is knowledge. We have to continue to study. The reason why I talk about leadership so much is because I love it. I'm passionate about it. I study it. I read something about leadership every single day. I'm a doctoral student in a business program where my specialization is leadership. I live it. I breathe it. That's what I love to do. So in order for me to continue to grow and get better, I have to continue to study. I have to continue to learn about it. And teaching it is also a part of that because I want to share. I want other people to grow. I want people around me to be better. I don't want to just grow by myself and be alone. I want to bring people with me. That's the mentality of a leader. Making people better. Helping people to understand that there's more to life than just being born, go to school, get a job, pay bills, and die. There's more to life than that. We all have a purpose. And if you haven't figured out yet what your purpose is, it's time to get on deck. We have to get going. We have to get working, get moving. And when you have a mentor in your life that can help you with that, it's all the more better. It makes you better. It helps you to get where you need to go a whole lot faster, getting a mentor. And that's a whole nother lesson. But I will say this. If you don't have a mentor in your life, you need to find at least one to help you in your journey, help you with your development, and make sure it's someone that's doing something similar to what it is that you want to do or may already be doing. It doesn't have to be your friend, especially if that friend is not working in the line of work that you want to be working in. You have to find someone who's compatible for where you're going. Get you a mentor. So important, so important, so important. Okay, experience. We all face challenges. They are going to come. You can't avoid every challenge. When you are working in something, especially if you're working in your purpose and you're working in something that you know God gave it to you, put something in your heart to do, you know with that comes the challenge. There's going to be a challenge. There are going to be several challenges. And your mindset has to be such that you will not quit when you are challenged. You will not give up when you are challenged. Your mindset has to be, if I can't go this way, I'm going to find another way around that. Because every time you try something and you don't succeed, that doesn't necessarily mean you failed. That just means you found another opportunity to find a different way to do it. But you cannot give up. You cannot quit. As long as you keep trying, you have a chance to make it. As soon as you quit, you have most definitely failed. Past success. How do we feel about past successes? If I succeed this time at doing something, does that mean that every time I try it is going to work? Or everything I do in life is going to work? No, it does not mean that. And just because something works this time this way doesn't mean it's going to work the same way the next time. So we have to be flexible. We have to make sure that we're keeping our minds open. Our eyes are looking left, looking right, and we're aware. We don't fall into that level of comfort where we're complacent and we feel like we don't need to study anymore. We feel like we don't need to work hard anymore. When we do that, that's when we fall into the rut. So we cannot rely on those past successes. Ability. How do you feel about people that are very, very good, very proficient at something? We tend to admire them. We tend to look to them as the subject matter experts. But does that make them a leader? If they're good at something, does that really make them a leader? Maybe, maybe not. It could contribute to their leadership ability. It can contribute to the overall success of a mission. But that alone does not make them a leader. And sometimes we mix that up. We blur those lines between ability and leadership skills. So we have to be careful with that. But all of these factors, character, relationships, knowledge, intuition, and experience, past success and ability, they all come together to form a well-rounded leader, for sure. And these are the things that we have to practice every day. We don't just wake up one day and say, I got it and I have it all figured out. These are things that we have to work on. And let me say this. Every single day is a new day, a new opportunity for us to look in the mirror and find something that we can improve upon. We all have weaknesses. What are they? What are yours? I have several. But these are opportunities for growth. These are opportunities for me to learn something new, to work on something where I may be weak, become better. And guess what I can do after that? I can help somebody else. Isn't that something? Every opportunity to help someone is an opportunity for me to expand my influence, to expand my ability to lead others. And I do it from my heart. I do it from a place of purity and being genuine. I don't want anything in return. I'm not looking for a tit for tat or I do this for you, you do this for me. The pure joy of helping someone else is what God placed in my heart to make me who I am. So that's what I do. So let me ask you again. Are you a leader or are you a manager? Are you someone that oversees a process and don't worry about the people? Or are you a person that you look for opportunities to develop other people and make them better while you yourself are growing and becoming better? That's what leadership is. That's what leadership is all about. Being an influencer. Being a person who strives on growing every single day. Reading, writing, talking about ways to make things better in your organization, at home, at the job, wherever you may be. So I want you to think about these things that I talked about today. Look for your areas. Look for your areas to grow. And see what it is that you can do to help yourself to become better. I invite you to do that every single day. And I just mentioned reading. I want to express upon you how important it is to read. Reading not only provides you opportunities to learn things, but it stimulates your mind. It makes you think about things that you may not have thought of before. You see things a little bit differently. You can work on some things that you may have read that stuck with you, that touched your heart. It could spark a conversation between you and someone else. You may be mentoring someone who happens to need that information that you just read. So reading is vital, and it's okay to watch shows on television and listen to the audio books and stuff like that. But when you actually read a book and you read those words, they kind of stick to you. Certain things will attach itself to your heart. And as leaders, that's very important, because you never know when you're going to get an opportunity to share with someone who is in need of that information that you have. And here's another one for influence. Let's talk about this for a second. Our attitude on how we deal with people is vital. How many times have you heard this? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to do a job. I've heard that plenty of times. And if that's your philosophy, to each his own. But I will tell you this. If you are a person that comes to work and says, I'm here to do a job and build relationships so that this entire organization can grow, can reach its organizational goals and exceed those goals and continue to grow and become better, that is a leader. That is a person that's going to supersede every obstacle that's going to come, every object that steps in the way, everything that comes along to stop that person, that individual, that leader, they will overcome it. When you're a person that just comes for a paycheck and just get a job done and go home, you put your own lid on your ability to grow. You put your own lid on how high you can go. And if that's what you want, if you're okay with that, that's fine. But as for me, I want to go to the fullest of my potential. I want to go as far as God has called me to go. And the only way I can do that is by helping others, by making sure that I'm a person that brings positive energy to any place that I go to, a person that when you meet me on the street, when you walk away from me, you feel better because you met me, or you feel like you just had a great encounter with someone. That's how I live my life. And I hope that all of you that are listening to me today, hope you feel the same way about that. Being and character. Let me go back to character for just a second. Character is not necessarily being, goody two shoes or being right all the time. Character has many facets to it, but it's really just being real. Being good at heart, of course, but being a real person that sticks to their word. How important is that when you're the leader? It's hard to recover when you're following someone, when you are following someone else, and they just turn their back on you, or they mistreat you, or you just lose complete trust in them. What do you do when you find yourself in that position? Now flip that. When you're the leader, think about that. When you're the leader, when you are that leader, when you're the one that sets the environment, when you're the one that sets the tone every day, when you're the one that people are looking at for answers, if they don't trust you, what do you do? How can you be successful? How can you be successful when you're that leader, when you're that guy, when you're that woman that everyone's afraid to come talk to because you have a nasty attitude, or people don't want to be bothered with you because you're so mean? That's not leadership. Leadership is not a test of how mean and nasty you can be to people, how tough and stern you can be. That's not leadership. It's really not. Leadership is how many people can you get to be successful? How many people can you help to get to the next level? How many people can you get to go out after their term with you is over? How many of them can go out and be successful because of you? Something that you poured into them, something that you helped them with, some training that you helped them to get that they probably did not get before they met you. That is real leadership, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what we're talking about. And if we all come together as leaders, get involved in our communities, be more active in our jobs, our organizations, everywhere we go, and be those beacons of light to everyone that's looking for that light, be that inspiration for all of those that are looking for that inspiration, that's what it's all about. And that's really all I have for today, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to remind you, I am president of L. Wayne Smalls and Associates, LLC, a leadership and training coaching company where we talk about leadership. We help people to grow. We do conduct workshops and seminars, training. And if you're looking for a dynamic speaker to come speak at your organization, please feel free to give us a call at 910-566-0238. And you can also go to our website at www.lwaynesmalls.com. Thank you for joining us today for our very first episode of Leadership Talks with L. Wayne Smalls. Take care, God bless you, and see you next time.